49ers update here from Levi's Stadium, adjacent to the team facility, which will host practice in just a few minutes. Isaac Guerendo not expected to participate. The rookie has a hamstring injury, and he is not likely to play against the Dolphins. The 49ers take off to Miami on Friday afternoon. They're excited to see some old friends there. That's going to include Mike McDaniel, the Dolphins head coach, John Embry, the tight ends coach, and Wes Welker, the wide receivers coach. But there are more connections beyond that. Max McCaffrey, the brother of Christian McCaffrey, is an offensive assistant for the Dolphins now. Max actually had a cup of coffee with the 49ers as a wide receiver a few years ago. And then Jesse Sapolo's son, Roman Sapolo, is also an offensive assistant for the Dolphins. But the coaching connections are really neat because John Embry was the tight ends coach back when George Kittle was a rookie, and we know that George is a future Hall of Famer at this point. Well, back in the day, John Embry would fine George Kittle $10 every single time that he stepped out of bounds voluntarily, if he wasn't forced out of bounds, and every single time that he jumped off the ground to catch the ball. He said you should always have your feet in the ground. George talked about it. I asked him about it in the locker room. You can watch the interview right after this. Anyway, that was just such a huge moment, and not just a moment. That was a huge stretch in George Kittle's career. He called John Embry his NFL dad, outside of his own dad, because Bruce Kittle also has a big, constant influence on George's life. But obviously the relationship is really good between George Kittle and John Embry, and it will be interesting to see the 49ers play the Dolphins with all of those family coaching connections intact. Today in the locker room, talked to George Kittle, as I just mentioned. Jalen Moore, 49ers left tackle, who might close out the season for them there, as it's looking unlikely that Trent Williams is going to return. By the way, Jalen Moore ranks in the top half of NFL tackles in pass blocking efficiency. He's finally had a chance to string a lot of games together. I think that he's better on the left side than on the right side, and he's a pending free agent, so a chance to really make himself some money over the course of these final 3 games. Miami's got a good-looking rookie named Chop Robinson at edge rusher who's been lining up and working against both left and right tackle out of their 3-4 that should give Jalen Moore a really good test. Chop Robinson is a very, very fast get-off at about 250 pounds, so look out for that. Also talked to Yetur Gross-Matos today in the 49ers locker room. Talked so much about the defensive line yesterday and how he's surged. He's got 1 more year under contract. He's now ranks number 25 out of about 70 edge rushers in pass rush productivity. So 49ers have 3 guys, Bosa, Leonard Floyd, and Yetur Gross-Matos, who have been big-time contributors for them. I mean, this is a guy that just won NFC Defensive Player of the Week honors, so you'll hear from him in just a second. 49ers are voting for the NFL Top 100 list. This was a funny moment in the locker room. Diamador Lenore was walking around. He was shooting hoops on the basketball hoop. And Deebo Samuel got his ballot, and he was filling it out, and he yells out, "How do you spell Diamador? Can I just write Debo in there?" Obviously voting for his teammate, Diamador Lenore. And I think he can just write Demo in there. So that was, we know who Deebo Samuel's voting for the NFL Top 100 list, at least one of the players. And I think that Diamador Lenore, with how well he's played inside and out, has indeed been very, very impressive. Brock Purdy also spoke, and why don't you have a listen in to Brock Purdy talking about how he evaluates his season, and I thought it was very interesting to see him also evaluate the growth that he has made over the past few months.
Yeah, I think there's some plays out there that I'd love to have back, and wish I could have been better for my team and for myself, and but at the same time I feel like there's been some growth in my game that has happened. And really just I think like leadership-wise with this team and sort of stepping up and when the team needs it, sort of just being a guy that they can hear from. And, in the past I've been sort of particular about when I speak and waiting for the right moment. But this year it's been more than it has. And so, I don't know, I feel more comfortable in who I am. But also I think I need to get better and get back to playing at the chip on my shoulder, and like it was my first 2 years of every game, every down, trying to prove to myself that, I'm the guy for this team and I'm capable of doing it. And so, that's sort of just been the case this year with some moments, and got to learn from that.
back to playing with the chip on your shoulder? Do you feel like it hasn't been there, and if so, why?
No, I mean, I think it has, but there's been moments where I feel like I was a little bit more concerned and consumed with trying to be perfect rather than, hey, man, let's go out and compete and show my guys, my teammates that, I love this game and that I'm passionate about it and I can lead them in any situation. So, sort of just handling that mentally and getting back to that.
So that's Brock Purdy. Here are the rest of the 49ers who spoke today, including George Kittle, who gets to see his old tight ends coach, John Embry.
What? I speak to guys sometimes that I feel like might need a little bit of encouragement. But I would say a majority of the guys, like, they get it and they get that. You're playing for this Sunday, but you're also playing in your film's on tape. Coach Shanahan's watching, all the coaches are watching. Like, you don't want to go out there and just put a dud on tape any day that you're ever get the opportunity to lace up your cleats and your pads. So I think this is a very self-motivated group, and I'm looking forward to a great practice today and then a great game on Sunday.
Seems that Jalen Moore has really grabbed his opportunity this year. What have you seen from him? I know you work some of those combo blocks with him. What have you thought of his play so far?
You know what? Back during training camp, everyone asked me, how worried I was about Trent Williams not being here, and I was just, I'm excited for Jalen to get the reps because there's going to be a point in the year where we're going to be playing alongside him, and I'm going to need him to be at his best. And so I'm glad I got those reps in training camp because I think Jalen's done a good job. He took advantage of all those reps. I'd love to have Trent Williams playing because he's amazing, but I think Jalen's done a very, very good job about stepping in. He's been really good in the run game. I think he's been very sufficient in the pass pro game, and he's a good energy out there too, so I've thoroughly enjoyed playing alongside of him.
It seems like he's really elevated his play versus the times before when he filled in. Is that something that you've noticed as well?
You know what? When you get a handful of snaps, like if you just have to come in the fourth quarter for 6 snaps, that's really tough sometimes. But like when you get games after games and you kind of get your foot in, you get a rhythm, it makes it a lot easier. And I think he's just done a good job of every single week he comes in, he works on something get a little bit better at, whether it's his first step, whether it's his hands, whatever it is. But he's getting better every single week of practice, and then every game too, I think he's just gotten a little bit better.
You know that at the end of every year that there's going to be roster change. There's no question about that, win, lose, or draw. Is there such a thing as momentum to take into next season for the guys that are going to be here to kind of establish a culture moving forward for next year?
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to take advantage of these 3 games that you have in front of you, focus on one at a time, but like I would much rather win these 3 games and go into the offseason feeling a little bit better. And hey, mathematically there's a 0.1% chance that we somehow sneak into the playoffs, but hey, if we don't, I'd rather win those 3 games than stub my toe on all 3 of them. That sounds horrible. And you really just want to, yes, there are changes, but a majority of the guys are going to be back. And I think, I look back at 2017, we were a 1-10 football team. We won our 5 of our last 6 games, and just way more fun. You just have a better energy going into it. And also, like, if you're done playing in January, you're definitely there's a new hunger, I would say, for a lot of the guys who haven't been to the playoffs a bunch and stuff like that. They just they want to get there for the first time. So it'll be good for our group.
And is it a little bit of a positive thing when you think about how close those key games were, just one little play one way or the other, and we're having a different conversation right now?
Could be. I try not to look too much in the past.
Yeah.
Our record is what our record is, and a majority of it is what we did or did not do. And so there'll be a time to look back and all that and see what we could have done better, places that we could have played better, opportunities that we could have taken more advantage of. But right now all I'm focused on is going out to Miami and beating a lot of my old former teammates and coaches, which I'm really looking forward to.
I was about to ask about Mike McDaniel. You obviously worked with him for several years.
I did.
He's quite the character. Do you have any really good memories with Mike?
I just always enjoyed walking past his office on like a Monday or Tuesday while he was doing install of run plays. Just asking what his thoughts were on the game plan. It's in his office for 5 to 10 minutes. I always enjoyed doing that. My tight end coach is down there, John Embry too, which I'm excited to see him. Coached me for my first 5 years. Close with him. Wes Welker's down there. Got a lot of guys down there that I'm good friends with. So just excited to see everybody. And I think we're 2-0 against him so far. So let's keep that train rolling.
I still remember Embry. I thought fined you guys $10 every single time that you
jumped,
ran
that or run out of bounds. Yeah.
What was the other stipulation?
If I jumped while catching the ball, because he says keep your feet on the ground because you can go faster.
So looking back on that now, you're obviously the perennial All-Pro player. Those were the initial NFL lessons, though. So do you feel that some of that did really instill the habits that you needed to reach the level that you consistently have reached?
You know what? I think Coach Emery did a great job about, show me the ropes, kind of throwing me a life vest because I was kind of thrown out to sea, when you start as a rookie. But he instilled a lot of awesome things that I still do to this day. Catching, running, not running out of bounds. Just like he helped me establish my mindset that allowed me to become the player that I am today. And I owe a ton of my success to John Embry. And he's basically my dad of the NFL. If you take my dad out of it, but close friend. We always talk all the time throughout the seasons, and it's always fun to I'll get a random coaching point from him at like 5 a.m. our time, 8 a.m. Miami time that says your footwork was trash last week. You got to fix your stance. You got to step like this, and I always appreciate those coaching points.
George, Curtis is nominated for Walter Payton.
That he is.
And I see a lot of TV events with him, and he's somewhat quiet. How do you see him come alive at these events?
I think one thing he does is he makes everybody that he interacts with feel very welcomed and loved. And I think that's a very special talent. Not everybody can do that. And he does it from a place too where he's not like a perennial household name where he's just relying on, hey, everybody knows who I am. He does such a good job about like communicating with people that he's talking to. If he's talking to a family, talking to mom, dad, their kids, getting to know them. I think he just does such an excellent job about that. And also he just makes himself available all the time. He's also our NFLPA rep, so he does that stuff, but he's always available to all the guys in the locker room, families, anybody that he's talking to. He makes them feel very welcomed.
Brock Purdy he will get a giant contract coming up.
That he will.
I don't pay attention too much to the internet, but
You don't?
I try not to. But
Okay, Jennifer.
there are some people that are saying that 50 to 60 million is too high. What is your counter argument to that?
Well, the good thing for me is that I don't have to do this contract. That's not on me, and that's on the organization and the guys on the other side of the aisle. But you know what? I think Brock's did nothing but play at a very, very high level. And the nice thing about contracts is when you play at a high level, you can compare yourself to other people in the league. And when other guys are getting paid $50, $60 million, and you're a better quarterback than they are, hard not to get that same amount of money. And I don't know what Brock's going to do. I think the Niners are going to figure something out to be as team friendly as you possibly can, but still reward him for the things that he has done and the things that he's going to continue to do for this organization.
And what about the intangibles that he brings to the table? Yes, there's play, but there's all the things that people on the outside don't see.
I don't know, Brock's what, 24? He's not a kid, but he just has a lot of growth and maturity left in front of him too. So I just think he's going to continually get better and better. And each year you're just going to see a better version of Brock. And, the more mature he gets, I think the more vocal he'll be as a leader and stuff like that too. And I think he does a good job of that already. And I think he's taken a step forward in that this year specifically. But I think next year too, he's just going to come back and be even more of a vocal leader for us. Thanks, guys.
As a lineman to come into this system and really play well, it feels like you guys are kind of hitting your stride at this point. Why does it take a little bit of time to get used to this type of attack from Chris Kasarik?
I think just the standards here are really high, and you got great players like Nick and Flo and Malik and guys all across the D line. The standards only rise higher, so just everybody's got to follow along. Everybody's got to uphold the standards. Next man up.
Now that you have several months under your belt, what is the single biggest challenge moving from an outside linebacker type of role to 4-3, the end in the dirt?
You lose a little bit of vision, but you get to attack more. So I don't want to say there's anything easier or harder about it. It's just different.
And Nick Sorensen was just talking about how it's nuanced. There's different things where you feel like you're attacking, but then once you look at it, what they ask you here is a little bit different. Is that true?
We attack. Well, we up front, we attack. So, we're getting after it.
Mm-hmm. Nick tried to explain that sometimes guys take maybe a half a season to kind of really get up to speed and what is asked of a defensive lineman here.
Yeah, it was my first season. It's my first time in this game, but obviously dealing with injuries and stuff. But came back and we are hitting our stride, so we got to finish out the season strong.
I suppose the sad irony of that is as you're starting to get those things all figured out, unfortunately, it looks like you got just 3 games left in the season. You'd like to have something else going on at this point.
Definitely would like to be in a better position, but going to go out there like we're still, 0-0, try to get this next win.
Is it such a thing as momentum to take into next season if you guys finish the season positively? Is that a factor potentially?
I think maybe for some guys, I'm really just focused on next week. focus on dominating Miami Dolphins, and then whatever comes next, comes next.
I know you haven't played a lot with Dre Greenlaw, but what was it like to have him back on the field? Did you feel the energy difference?
No, for sure. It was dope. Didn't really get to see him practice all year. So when he got out there, you could feel the juice, the energy, and then obviously he was playing great. So it was awesome to see. I'm looking forward to seeing it again next week.
How impressive is it that one guy can kind of bring that extra juice that he did to the defense?
It was really impressive. I don't want to make it sound, that's what they say about him. So I don't want to make it sound like that's the expectation, but it kind of was.
Given the fact that you missed some time earlier this year, how's your body feeling now in December versus other Decembers when maybe you had some more bruises at this point of the year?
I feel good. Yeah, like you said, usually I was playing for 14, 15 weeks, so my body feels pretty good right now.
It helps.
I mean, you're setting yourself up for, with all these starts and the good performance, setting yourself up for, you're a free agent next year. Do you have you been looking ahead to that at all? Or are you focused on what's happening in front of you?
Yeah, I'm just taking it day by day, game by game, just trying to help get us some wins under our belt. We still got a chance, so just trying to help us push forward.
And Trent Williams hasn't been out there, but has he been in your ear a lot during the games, around pre and post?
Yeah, definitely. Whenever he's around, I get a chance to talk to him and bounce feedback and, just kind of collaborate on things, even though he's dealing with his thing or whatever.
Does anything stand out to you about Chop Robinson's game?
He has a really good get-off, low pad level guy. I think it'll be a real good battle.
George Kittle was just saying nice things about you. That you said that all the work you got in training camp kind of enabled you to step into this position that you're in right now. How do you feel like you've grown with this group and kind of adjusted to all the demands that this offense has?
I've been in the office for 4 years now, so of course, all that time, you get more and more comfortable with all the little nuances, and being out there going against our ones every day in training camp definitely helped.
How much has Chris Forster changed and shaped how you are on the field now?
He's taught me so much over these 4 years that I honestly don't even know where I'd be in my game without him. Honestly, it's been a huge help.
You said it's kind of too early to think about what's going to happen next year, but the chance that the playing time that you've had certainly gives you leverage moving forward to help you with whatever your decision is moving forward, I guess.
Yeah, I hope that it does. That's the plan.
That's the update here from Levi's Stadium. We'll talk to you a little bit later this afternoon.